Greetings. I thought we'd make the second of the Rage in Eden series. Second song on the Ultravox album Rage in Eden. But I think I forgot to mention a comment or something that occurred to me on the connected to the last video, this world being a stage. Now I refer you back to the playlist with those two children's stories about the story of the little soul and how another soul will come into this reality to play its opposition. So as their opposition, they're your foe. Now, the world being a stage, you'll find that a lot of actors and actresses can get typecast, and they play very similar roles when they play these different characters. So you could say they have a niche. Now when you give life to something, in terms of energy, it is on. So what about a faux niche on? Just a thought there. Anyway, We Stand Alone, the second song on the Rage in Eden album by Ultravox. The opening song is the voice. You've heard the shape and the power of the voice. That's your gut feeling talking to you. That realization that this reality, there's something very wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it. It's that first stage of what, shall we say, we call the awakening, the awareness. And then, oh boy, the fun really starts, which I think most of you are in various stages of sort of the truth-seeking route, the looking externally for answers. Why would they do this to us, and so on and so on. What is it, and where do we look for the answers? So we stand alone. So once again, I'll just give you a straight reading of the lyrics. It's actually hard to read because when you know the songs, you want to sort of start singing it, but I won't inflict that on you. So, the words played all around our heads. Perhaps we went too far. We'll soldier on until the end again. This clutching hand around my hand, so pitiful and frail, makes bleeding hearts begin to beat again. We stand in a different light that's cast upon this gigolo and gigolette. We stand with a different frame around us now, but when we talk in time. We shine with profiles so strong and so clear, and when we move in time, won't fade like pictures that come back again. Your propaganda touched my soul. Those thin and cherished words, a willing victim for the kill again. We stand in a different light that's cast upon this gigolo and gigolette. We stand with a different frame around us now. Quite a short song, that one, but very profound. So I'll give you my sort of interpretation of it. I mean, it sort of really resonated, and then there's some bits I sort of puzzled over, and it's like, how do I explain this? Well, we'll come to that as we go through the lyrics here. So the words played all around our heads. Well, you've heard the voice, and that's given you an internal feeling that something's not right. So now you're weighing it up in your head, trying to make sense of it all. Perhaps we went too far. Well, that's when you're trying to reach out to say to everybody else, you've been lied to, and you get called crazy, basically. We'll soldier on until the end again. Well, it's as Neville Goddard talks about the law and the promise. Nobody gets left behind. You just keep coming back until you go through these experiences and learn the life lessons. You put as Neville Goddard describes it, you're put into a body of a 20-year-old with a full set of childhood memories. You don't even realise the transition. I suppose you could say it's like a Mandela effect. You go to sleep, you wake up and you've got these memories and you think that was your life, and this reality is all about convincing you your opinions, your ideas, your ego minds, you're being this physical body, which you are not. You are an eternal spirit. This is just an experience in this reality, but you can enjoy the experience or you can see all the horrors of it. It's up to you. You've got the choice what you want to see. Again, it comes back to where your attention goes, your energy will flow. This clutching hand around my hand, so pitiful and frail. It's talking about here how we feel so alone, so vulnerable. But this clutching hand, you can see that as the opposition. It's that stranglehold on us. Makes bleeding hearts to begin to beat again. That feeling, that sort of wanting to change the world, that when the heart's bleeding, it's letting out emotions. It's not in a positive state. So we stand in a different light that's cast upon this gigolo and gigolette. We stand with a different frame around us now. This is basically the chorus of this song. We stand in a different light that's cast upon. It's the various stages of this awareness and this awakening where you're starting to feel very different from everybody else around you, even your own family and the external reality. This gigolo and gigolette, I think we all have got an idea what a gigolo is, but remember we're talking about a spiritual, not a literal in this physical reality. I had to have a look at what this definition of this word is. I mean, notice it says this gigolo and gigolette. It's describing the Adam and the Eve, the male and the female forms here. By definition, it says an income of dubious means. But if you think about this character called Christ in the Bible, what did he do? Did he work? How did he eat? How did he earn a living? It's any of these spiritual figures, mythological or not, throughout time, it's sort of, how do they function? You've got various sort of monks and things that go into meditation that don't eat for years, breatharians and things. It's there's the dubious part, the questionable part. It's like when you're seeing it from a 3D material reality where you're encouraged to eat 3 meals a day and so on and so on. So we stand with a different frame around us now. Well, I would suggest that is your aura, your magnetic energy, what you're radiating out. You've already made that shift from going along with the narrative and believing everything is the way we're told it is. So you've got a different energy about you. But when we talk in time. We shine with profiles so strong and so clear. So when we talk in time. Well, I'm sure most of you have had this experience at some time or another when you have what is described as synchronized thoughts, where an idea will come to you and a revelation will come to you, and then someone else you talk to independently, they have come to that same idea. I mean, you could call it coincidence. I call it collective consciousness at work when these ideas come through. It's happened time and time again. Christine Essene channel, for example, the number of times I've had sync thoughts with Christine is innumerable. That reminds me as well, this word infinite, eternal. Well, the clue is in that word, in. And it's a fine night. It's a wonderful night. The void is like black velvet that you could actually see in. It's almost beyond description in this reality. So it is in fine night, as opposed to the dreadful night when you go through the dark night of the soul, which is part of this process. Anyway, I've digressed a little off the song, so we'll get back to the song. So we're on to the last verse now. When we move in time, won't fade like pictures that come back again. Well, they're just the images, what's passed into mythology. Your Jesus character, your Merlin, your Poseidon, your Hermes, your Zeus, which is Jesus. Medusa, the Gorgon, you name it. They've all got these attributes, these fantastical things beyond the physical reality. They're pictures that they come back again. But we won't fade like pictures that come back again, because we are infinite, we are eternal. This next verse, it's talking about this 3D reality, particularly the media, the screens, the newspeak. Your propaganda touched my soul. Those thin and cherished words, a willing victim for the kill again. Well, that's all the Phoenician, the niche of the opposition, who are giving you misleading stories. So you become a willing victim because you give attention to something, you react to something, you unknowingly are being misled into giving your time and your energy to something, believing that you are doing right. So a Christian or any religion would come under that. Again, refer you back to listen to the beautiful video by Anna Brown. Just to remind myself here, beliefs aren't needed. It's only 5 minutes long. It's a very perfect explanation of why belief is a bad thing in a way, because you're giving an energy to something that you don't sort of know about, don't know it to be 100% true, because it's external to you, especially if it's an external God that you're being asked to get on your knees and bow down to. I mean, you're co-creators after all. You're not behaving like gods when you're bowing down to something that's not even real. It's just a twisted opposition, misleading version. There's the propaganda that touches your soul. And then it goes back to the chorus again. We stand in a different light that is cast upon this gigolo and gigolette. We stand with a different frame around us now. It's when you find other people on the same frequency, you'll find that you're not alone after all. This is the thing, anything like depression, when it happens to you, it feels like it is only happening to you. But when you communicate the power of the voice, going back to that first song again, you'll find you are not the only one, and there are many of us. There are many of us that are called crazy, called truth seekers, which is actually lie exposures. Some have got stuck along the path with various topics. It's important to remain free-flowing and just go with the flow on this. Whatever the gut feeling takes you. Personally, I wouldn't worry too much about the past. It's like it's showing you the potential of some quite horrific things that will really make you feel like you have no power to stop it. We're talking about things like the megalithic structures and things, but it begs the question of if there is a system, an opposition that, as I see it, that is doing all it can to hide our true power, then we must ask ourselves, what is that true power? How awesome is it? Imagine, and that is the key word, imagine how much better it could be if we were given freedom, or we can find that freedom, it might be a better way of saying it, to change this reality. And we do have that power within us to change this reality. It is all from the imagination and from your feeling. Again, I'll refer you over to the playlists. I've made a section, can't even remember what I called it, sort of the key to finding oneself. There's about 28 videos in there so far. I really need to start sort of grouping those under authors, individual authors, because there are some wonderful authors. I was reminded in a comment about Florence Scovel Shinn, and what I described in the last video, The Voice, the first song by Ultravox on this album, is very much something I've been going through, and good reminder, thank you for that, because I do need to listen to that again. You can never listen to these things too many times when you find this truth that is in everything, this silver thread, because it all helps, where you can reinvent yourself, recreate yourself into the best version of yourself. And yeah, we can change this reality. We can make it into something far better. If we're here to have an experience, then is it just a temporary experience that we then go on to something else? Or could it be that part of that experience is to alter this program and turn it into something much better? Do you want to still be Sonic the Hedgehog and just be collecting gold rings and getting to the next level? Seems pretty pointless, chasing the material wealth and everything. I think you'll agree, in this reality is finite. It is not infinite. It all decays. Some things take a lot longer to decay, but look at some of the oldest known structures. Are they in pristine condition? They're in various states of decay. You've got things like yew trees, the symbol of long life. They still go through that process of birth and life, maturity, and then a long, slow decay. And then they will eventually rot down. They will provide life for a multitude of insects. And they become part of the nutrients, and they morph into another form. They don't actually die, even in the physical form. But everything is finite in this reality because it is subject to time. Imagine if we could take that element out of it, the space and the time, where things can come instantly to you when you are given the keys to the kingdom. A reference there to Joseph Benner, again in the playlists, well worth listening to. So I've sort of digressed quite off from the song lyrics, but I think it's all relevant and it all needs to be shared, because sharing is caring. And wow, I nearly did it again with my head on that top of that thing. Yeah, don't know if you can see it. There's the little robin. I put some bread out, and there's plenty of other birds. Hopefully the camera's at the right angle, you can see that. Anyway, and car horn, just to remind us of the reality we're in. But it's a wonderful time to be alive. Some of you are saying, oh, I don't want to be here, I don't want to come back here anymore, but just think about it in this way. If you're going to have to be here, and it said we agreed to come here, to go through this, well, when you're at a change of age from Pisces to Aquarius, and you're also at a change, not just from one age to another, but we've come to the end of the cycle of the great year. Wouldn't you say that's actually a wonderful time to be here? I wouldn't miss it for the world. Ta-ta for now.